Yeah. Oh, got it. Got it. So and I looked into a great situation here with low code development. Excuse me. I'll leave this up. So this is going to be just 10, 15 minutes of explanation of what low code is, what Power Apps is and does, why it's exciting, and a little bit of why I think it pays so well. So Power Apps launched in November 30th of 2015, which makes it 8 years old. I've been in it for 4 years, which makes me a grizzled veteran in the technology. As far as the technology goes, in that world, I'm pretty high in demand. I mean, imagine if you'd started JavaScript halfway through its life. Yes, but Ben, JavaScript is everywhere. Everybody's using it, so it's kind of apples and oranges. We'll get to that. So I started in 2000, about 4 years in the technology. So what is low code? Low code is an environment where you don't have to enter in all the code and you get good results. We actually all use, I'm pretty sure we all use a lot of low code. Excel is an example of a low code environment, not low code software development, but there's a lot of structure involved. You put in a little code, you get a lot of results. The low code, so Power Apps, as part of the a Microsoft enterprise suite, part of the low code advantage is that you hide behind all of Microsoft security. So I don't have to deal with authentication. I don't have to deal with security. I don't have to deal with versioning. So one thing, what I'm not well versed in what low code developers call traditional development or typing development. So I don't have any professional experience in any of that. However, in classes, versioning and making sure you're using the right version as everybody else, huge pain in the butt. I've sat in on some meetings here where we're talking about containers and how awesome they are because you automatically have the right version. All that's gone out the window with this. You're always on the right version, and you're always behind their secure security and credentialing. So what can you do with low code? So it simplifies things down so much that one person, me for instance, can do everything, start to finish, from business analyst, product owner, solutions architect, quote unquote database engineer. I'll get into that. Developer, QA, QI, UI, UX. So one person can do all that. So it makes modest companies of 1 to 200 people able to have their own complete software development department, provided they have the right person. Not every developer likes to play with colors. Not every developer likes to play with schemas. So it's kind of required that you do it all in this world. It's not so developed that there's ever a team. In fact, the technology itself doesn't lend itself well to multiple people developing on the same project. So there is a sudden interest in low code development for this reason. All these companies who want custom software but don't want to spend, and I'm kind of pulling numbers out of the air again, not a lot of experience with this, 20, 30, 50, 100, $150,000 on a small piece of custom code. But they can hire one guy and in a week or two, start pumping out custom software to help one person, to help one team, something that the ROI never would have allowed before. So as you lower the I, and as you lower the R and the I plummets, the return on investment becomes very attractive. So as I enter, so I've kicked off this program in two companies. One where I became a developer. I'm like, hey, everybody should do this. And once people found out what I could do, there was white space for days. I could help people all day, every day for 10 years, and there would still be work. Part of the reason why there's such a huge demand. Every team, so people say, I don't need an app then. Like, do you have an Excel sheet? Are you maintaining it? Do you have a team who's maintaining it? Do you expect them to type in the information accurately and correctly? Do you want to give them information, access to all the information? Do you want them to, do you want to allow them to delete everything, anything, the whole sheet? Clearly, the answer is yes and no appropriately. So you need to control accessing information, and you need to control how the information is entered in order to make it reportable. So you need an app, and that's just the Excel sheets. Everybody's got a team maintaining an Excel sheet, so that needs to be handled with a front end like Power Apps, and that kind of project with a developed component. Well, in order to make it pretty, a developed component section to your Power Apps can be done in 2-3 days, a week. Make it pretty. So you got 52 of these a year. Yeah, 50. I like my time off. 48 of these a year, to help individual teams. People are realizing that yes, I do need an app, and that's just the Excel sheets. Now you have approval processes. You have interdepartment or interpersonnel audits, and all that can be leveraged with Power Apps. What is Power Apps not, or what isn't it? You're never going to make a software an operating system with Power Apps. You're never going to. I used to say you're never going to make a game with Power Apps, but I saw there's a video somebody made a 3D driving game with Power Apps. I have no idea how, but there's a video out there for that. But it's not designed, it's not optimized for that sort of thing. Business processes, absolutely. Yeah, so just to reiterate, imagine all of these apps that people need that they could never get an app before. Now they can. So there's just work to be had all over the place, and companies who want a complete software development department in one person. So why develop in Power Apps? Why do low code? You know, you're already an established developer or solutions architect in, say, Java, JavaScript, C++, something already out there paying. And maybe that's not the right approach. So you're getting into the system, and you want to get paid a lot quick. With this in this industry, with it being so new, I believe the salaries, especially in the early years, are a little higher than in other traditional, typey development teams or situations where you're part of a team. That was my experience. I entered the workforce and I felt a tiny bit overpaid, which was not a problem. So for the rest of this, I thought I'd show you how quickly we can develop a let's say a blog. Someone's going to make a statement, and other people are going to be able to comment on that statement. And I guess that's the fundamental part of what we're going to be developing over the next, say, we'll see how fast we can get this done. Okay. Of the so the topic is people are going to make a statement. Other people are going to be able to comment on it. There's going to be a bunch of statements, kind of like a blog, but only one level down. So maybe notes and notes on notes might be a way to think about that. Okay, so that's the ask. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Completely generic. So I find I'm completely. How do I change that to this? Thank you. I am subject agnostic. I kind of don't care who I'm talking to. To me, stakeholders are largely the same in that they have needs. Discerning what their need is from their words, teasing out what their actual need is, from their words. I need a SharePoint site. Well, what is it about the SharePoint site that you actually need? Now, I'm lecturing you on things that a lot of you already know, and that's not my intent. But just creating the app itself need not be subject specific, I guess. I believe are the obvious. Okay, so we are going to, excuse me, that didn't help. Doesn't matter. Well, there it is. So close. Thank you for your patience. Okay, so the whole Power Platform, by the way, is a suite of low code ish applications that help you develop the various parts of an application. Power Apps would be the front end part. So that's the CSS, the JavaScript, the HTML. Dataverse is the back end. You don't get to develop the back end. They do that for you. You can hand off a lot of programming processes off to the back end. But everything else runs in the browser. It's completely, if I don't have internet, I can't develop. Oh, that's another thing. Why we're so in demand. Access to the technology is difficult to get. If you, as a private citizen, you can't get code under fingers. You need to have an enterprise account, and then you automatically have it. So in your work account, check out, look for the pretty purple icon, and you'll have it. In between jobs, I tried to code, I couldn't do it. There was just no access to it. So people who want to get into it, you in? Yeah. There it is. See, it's sitting around. Nobody knows about it. Oh, curious. Who here had heard of Power Apps before today? That's yeah. And this is a room full of knowledgeable people. So I'm going to. So I've already created a couple tables, and we'll just take a tiny look at them. They are super simple. One is statement and key. Oh, and also created by so two tables, excuse me, tables. A bunch of not boilerplate, but required tables, created by, created on, modified by, import sequence. But these are the ones that I built. BJD, I'm the publisher. So the only ones I created are entered at, entered by, key, and statement. Statement table is just a placeholder for the unique ID for the table. And then comment table, largely the same. Well, see what I actually got to. So it just has the it should read statement table key. The keys are auto-generated, so as you add things to it, it just increments. Okay, moving on. Okay, so we'll create a new app. And I'll go ahead and call it blog. You at this point you get a chance to make a tablet or a mobile app. Of course, as a mobile app, you get access to all the peripherals, the camera, the GPS. You can take a class on app in a day to make a mileage tracker, for instance. Yeah, so on the screen, so everything's added graphically. I'm just going to add a quick text label, and this is, it holds text, it's clickable. Here's all the properties. So you know, the align centering in Power Apps is a dream. I remember trying to center in HTML. It's always center tags. Yeah. So, and maybe not everybody has that issue, but I certainly did. Okay. Let me just make this a little bit bigger. And I'm going to try to respect everybody's time by getting through this very quickly. That in blue. Make it a little bit bigger. Sure, why not? And we'll give it a heavy. Okay. So what are we going to need for this? We're going to need a text input. Let's talk about this list real quick. Everything's graphically based. You click on it, it drops onto your screen, and then you can deal with it. So you know, I like to think of it as how many times do you really need to write open caret, you know, button. This takes care of all that. We'll make this multi-line. For text input, we won't have that as the default. We will have that for a hint. Not. You see that? It's not, kind of not really. This is really good on a much bigger screen. We'll call that good enough. Oh yeah, so this will push play up here. And now here's the app. I'm not going to worry about spelling, but these are words, right? They don't go anywhere. They don't do anything. It's just the text inputs. It's not wired up. So what am I going to want to display? I'm going to want to display the statements. So connected to this, I will have to add my data. A statements table. Now that's added, and I'll add comments. Comment tables. Now all of that metadata is brought in. I can now drop in a gallery. Gallery is and I don't mean to talk down anybody. I don't know if it's in any of all y'all's technology, but it's simply a way to view a table. It scrolls. You can select things on it, and you make a template, and then pick which values, which columns from that table you want to display, and then it just repeats it for all of the rows that you supply it. So here's my gallery, and it's got a default information in there. Close this down, and here here's the items. So this is the items property of the gallery. What's kind of fun with this is that, like Excel, this is basically an Excel sheet. What you're looking at here is a bunch of values that all interrelate. It's not a scripting like it isn't a scripting language. What you're looking at here is not a scripting language. You're looking at an Excel sheet in graphical representation. So you change the value here, it evaluates everywhere. There is no re-render. So you can see here the value behind this variable. You can actually display it. So and you can do this with different filters. Like in your long code, you can highlight a filter and see what's in it. So that really helps with development. I'm going to take out all this stuff. It's optional fields that just get in the way for me, but can be very helpful. Good to put a border on this, otherwise you lose it. White against white. So what am I going to use for my items? So this is going to be the statements table, and throw in another. Okay. Excuse me. So the gallery is called gallery 1. I won't bother renaming it. This label I just added. I'm going to make its X value the X value of the gallery. I'm going to make its Y value the Y value of the gallery minus its own height. There's going to be lots of mistakes. You know, they say leave the mistakes in your presentation, so you're welcome for that. And that did not work. All right, what happened? Oh, it equals. Again. All right, and of course the width will just make the width of the gallery. There is a fantastic and robust container system in here that you have vertical containers and horizontal containers. Think of these as your divs, where well, I'll just leave it at that and move on. We can get into what that is later if we like. Oh, height, width. Okay. Try again. 2 times a charm. Not gonna mess around with the CSS too much. But as a Power Apps developer, I am really into the UI UX aspect of this. You kind of have to be into it all, otherwise it's not going to be fun. So it's not for everybody, even excellent developers. See what else is in here. Okay, so this is empty. We're going to add a. Yeah, so once we're in here, I click on this thing, and this lets me edit the template itself. And not. Oh yeah. So we are going to change the items, the table powering it to make it the statements table. Just straight up off of the source data, which is convenient. So into this, we're going to add some more labels. We'll make the first label. So it's already reading. I guess I already have something in the table from a previous, just a couple items. So that's the key. I don't want to show the key here. I'm going to show the statements. I'm going to make the width of this parent width minus. So sometimes there's a scroll bar that's about 10 or that's 10 pixels. Then I'm going to want 20 more. So we'll do what's that? 32. All right. I want more than that, 50. Okay. For ease of viewing, I'll continue to work in blue. And I will copy and paste that. I'm going to grab the name of this first one, should I name it? Yeah. ST statement. Names have to be unique throughout the whole app. So generally, I'll start off with the initials of the screen that it's on, because you're gonna have name all over the place. So I'll grab that and I will make this, the X value is going to be 0, just like the other one. I'll make it 5. And then the Y value will be the Y value of the one above it plus 1, because I like to have a little space in there. And, everybody has to like that, and everybody has to use it. Easy. And this, I don't want this to be the statement. I will have this be, so I'm recording, you may recall, recorded by, recorded at statement, and that's it. So this value, what's up? Is that, oh yeah, so it is, so the language here, I coded in this language for about 2 years before I learned the name of the language. It's called PowerFX, and it's designed exactly like Excel. You don't have VLOOKUP, but everything else is the same. Concat, parentheses, argument, close parentheses, and it concatenates those. So it is, everybody here knows how to code in this to a very real degree, period. Yeah. How accessible is that? You guys are being so nice. Thank you. So this will be recorded. But now I'm going to look at my table and see what my columns are actually named. Entered by, and I will copy and paste that. I will grab the name of the second one, the entered by, and I will use that for the Y value of, oops, again, close enough? Okay, and I'll make the X value 0. All right, looking okay, but I don't want this to be, the text value to be recorded by, I want to, good enough for now. Change the, okay, let me this over here a little bit more. It's not going to help me. Okay, so this is data that was already in there. Fine then, but we want to see new data. Oh, we also want a separator in the, so inserts rectangle. The rectangle width, this really makes everything easy to make it dynamic. Yeah, dynamic, that's what I'm looking for. And this will be a fun, excuse me? Absolutely, yeah. What am I doing? Oh. Something obvious. Oh, right. Height. And we'll grab this, the name of this value, the name of this label. Rectangle, there it is. And that will be used in the Y value. Okay, one more thing we need to do before I move on is make this height. This will adjust as per the text, and we'll take out the top and bottom padding. Okay. So these are words. I want these words to be the statement. That would be helpful. Would be optional. So how do we do that? You could do it with the save button. I prefer with on change, but that's which is another property of the text field. So now we're going to use a patch function. So and patch and again, I don't mean to. I don't know your world because I never worked in it. So I don't know if it's universal, but patch is going to oh, it's an update. So it'll update. I'm going to make it update the table that runs this. So that's the source table. So we'll do, and we'll make this a little bit bigger. And we'll patch the statement tables. You have to so use patch for update and also create. If you're going to use create, then you use this default, which I'm sure there's a deeper meaning as to why they use default and not default or anything else. I don't know it. Seems weird to me. But in that table we have so now I've hit the comma. Now I'm creating the record. It's providing me all of the columns in that table to choose from down here, which is nice. I want to use the key that's auto-generated, owner, blah, blah, blah. Okay, statement. Statement will be simply self.text. So all of these controls, the labels, everything else, have these properties, and you can reference them all over. I could do self.color, and it would update. It would put color into the statement. We want entered at, and that will be now. And we'll do. Hey, Zarella, how am I doing on time? Oh, okay. User. So with user, it's a just like now. It's a built-in function. I have these options and only these. Well, and only these options. The enter object ID is something that's fairly new. It used to be known as the GUID or the GUID. And with that, you can link up to the whole Microsoft world and get my. So this happens to be work, so you get my department, my immediate report, all that. The table's this wide. But we'll just do full name, and then we'll close the brackets off. Yeah. So now I'm worth my salt. Make sure I'm worth my salt. So it's on an on change. This is not changed. If I click off here, nothing's going to happen. If I click on here and I change it, I don't love how that's how that's spacing out. But this is now entered into the source data. After you hit enter, you can shoot the computer and your data is saved. I use this a lot to protect my users against for themselves. Yeah. Okay, so now we have something that enters data into a table. Was that fairly quick? I don't know. That was probably, again, I'm not worked in your world. Kind of quick. Yes. Yeah.
Scripting to that in a text box?
Absolutely not. Yeah, there is no. The only code you can enter is into here. There's no way to if I can speak to your world a little bit, so there is no way to close paren, semicolon, right, and then start writing script. No, it is just these are, you're already in a quotation mark in this text. So question, thank you. Yeah. After so it would be nice if after I did this, it would clear. There is a reset of property to this, which you can. I'll just do it real quick.
What are the most common use cases for this stuff? Interior company has 15.
Well, I'm trying to. I've not actually made this professionally.
This program, what is your common use case?
Right. What I'm doing now. Okay, so I've just completed something where I work for a law firm, and a document comes in that needs to be approved by 8 different departments, 8 different administrative groups, multiple people in them. The first person that approves it moves it on. First the summary has to be made. So the summary has to be made. It collects that data. That summary goes out for each admin group. That summary then is sent to each of the 3 of the people in that admin group. They get to see their summary. They get to make notes on that. Okay, they get an email. They get a link. They come into the app. They access their admin group, and then they can see their summary. They make notes on that. Once that's all done, kicks off the next step. It goes to the general counsel. No, it goes to all the admin. Yes, it goes to the general counsel. General counsel gets to see the summary for each admin group, the notes from each admin group, and make his own notes. Once that's done, it kicks off to the last person. That's the billing attorney. The billing attorney has LSAs, legal something that work under them. That's all dynamic. Whoever happens to be their LSA when they log in, according to the person relationship table in the company, they get to have access to the data. They get to approve the whole document, and then it stops. Then when they want to reference it, they can come back to the app and reference each of the admin groups on their own. Well, if I had sold it, if I owned it, yeah. If I owned it, I'd be showing it to you now. Yeah, but everything I write, they own. So I would love to show it to you because I'm really proud of it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I would have to pay, but like let's say I yeah, and yeah, it's already done, and somebody else uses it. Does it have? Do I have to pay the entire time every single little piece, or like the app to continue running, or like can I just like pay for the database now that the app is installed, or can I just like I don't want to pay this anymore, and then like maybe a year later I change my mind, and will the app still exist? Or will it still be mine, or will it be gone because it's like kind of property of mine?
Well, it's not the property of mine. It's never. It's the person who owns it is the person who owns the enterprise. So for me, it's the law firm.
What if I don't have the enterprise now? Like what if I don't have enterprise?
If you can't get into their tenant, into their Microsoft tenant, you don't have access to it. Once I leave the firm, I will never be able to see it again, unless it's through somebody else.
I want to keep it functioning because I was looking at the price. Seriously, it's not that bad. It's like when you something, there is something per month per user. But if I was going to pay them myself for the enterprise, that means that I would have to pay like every year, the whole year, and to maintain the app running, I will have to pay that amount of money every year.
Yeah, enterprise agreement. Yeah. Yeah, so that would be more like you have your own development company and you're building apps, and then you can send it to them, and now they can run it on their Microsoft. Yeah, yeah.
That all is going to Microsoft account exported.
There are over 800 connectors associated with this, and those I can show you to various data sources, SQL. Salesforce, NetDocs, they
Essentially, they might just want all the data.
there would be a way you would have to code it. to grab all of the data from the various sources.
Usually have to create it out.
The default is SharePoint paper. So it's SharePoint. It's like a modernized. Yeah, you can explore anything you want. You can download it, so to this point, you can connect any data source you want. And you're back, so you already have a database, a real relational database. You can connect to that.
But I mean, if you store in that. I have, people been using it, you want to back it up.
Yeah, you can do that. Like I said, sort of SharePoint tables, you can do all the SharePoint functionality there. If exporting, you can, if you wanted to then switch it to like a real database instead of you could export it and load it into the relational database. So you can make this app more advanced over time. That's the way to describe it.
Yeah.
Basically, ingest and work. That's the two primary uses. So if I want to submit a ticket for something, the fastest way to get that up and running. So you can build a form, they type in, you send it to 18 people for approval, like he's talking about. The workflow is also built into Power Apps, to the Power Platform. So you have all sorts of tools you can use without having to code. But it's a huge time saver for departments. And individual like business people can actually build that without having to get they'll have to get a developer to come help with some of the syntax he had put up there. Most people aren't going to be able to even figure that out.
So a loan insurance company or a one-off hospital.
Yeah. Trouble is, it's negative. It's not horrible. But if you decide to change the platform, you're screwed. Okay, so if you think, oh, you want to get away from Microsoft. So like web, little double that you could take to AWS, Azure, Google, and you can just move it to any different platform you want. Can't do that with this. That's a lot. And you got to keep paying that monthly $20 per person per whatever if you want to keep running that.
But the house security.
Straight. Yeah. Right. Yeah. You have a lot of stuff. You have to publish that. And you have to decide who has access. So you have all the security layer built in. For you to say, only these people in this role in my Active Directory, right? So you're playing in Microsoft World. So it makes it very easy for that. You try the Microsoft World, you're there for a long time. Once you start down this path. But again,
I can only go about Microsoft. Everybody can.
Right. But you know it's gonna work.
But think about it. What organization doesn't use Word, Excel, PowerPoint? Right? If you're a Microsoft shop, just the nature of what tools you use, you'll probably have Microsoft 365. And it's just a matter of paying that extra $20 per person to get access to this.
On that point, there is an extra charge for premium connections.
Oh, that's true.
Right. Which is Dataverse. However, as the gentleman was mentioning, SharePoint lists, non-premium.
Yeah.
Excel, non-premium. Excel is a terrible backend, but everybody starts off. But it can be used in the backend, just performances. The downside of SharePoint lists, which is kind of the downside of real databases, and I don't say real database, I should say real database. Because the Dataverse is not a real database. It kind of is, it pretty much is, but it does have extra functionality like security. I can do row level security, I can do column level security, which means I can do cell level security. But if you share a SQL table system, if you give them read access, that's a whole table. So pros and cons. The cons are while you can handle millions of rows, it's not going to handle billions. As I understand it, yeah, and I say yeah, not knowing that they're good in the future. So, what's that?
Government or something.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
not going to build any songs.
yeah.
But you can build localized departmental level.
Yeah.
To his
For sure.
days,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because we say.
Well,
I can be used outside, like, I just like,
now,
link and post it and other people?
There is a way to have a portal, and I haven't done it. But to the point of the cost, if you have, there may be a counter example of this, I haven't found it, but if you have Outlook, you have Power Apps. And if the apps are made with non-premium connectors like SharePoint lists, there is no more cost for the whole company. So that's nice. And for a per user account, like I have, it's more, but there's a per app account, which for nonprofits, I've seen it as low as $3 a pop. So if you're a user in our nonprofits, it's $3 for you a month for you to use the app, and for you to use the app, $3 a month. For for-profit, I've seen, I think it's 10, but I've not heard, I'm not seeing that lately, so maybe it's 20, but it doesn't seem to be that.
But they don't have to have, do they have to be, you say, enterprise account?
Well, it's the enterprise account is owned by or operated by the company. So they're a user in the enterprise. So the whole company has access.
And I make an app, random people that don't have access, can they use my app?
You have to get past the Microsoft credentials first. Yeah. So there are serious limitations. Like I can never work for anybody that doesn't have Power Apps.
Right, but it works very well for a company.
Is it possible to work Excel app and access those?
I'm not sure. That's outside of my knowledge. I've never. So my only experience with Access is making application or application rotations of legacy apps. So I'm not a fan of Access. I guess it was great at the time, but I'm on the latest greatest. If you ask me anyway. Yeah.
Can you generate desktop on Power Apps?
It has to open up in the Power Apps. Power Apps on a computer has to be a browser. Power Apps on your phone has a Power Apps app. And then you open up that, and that accesses all of the apps that you are sharing. My browser gets up to 3 and 4 and 5 gigabytes when I'm building. Now the studio itself is pretty heavy, so the app itself would be much smaller. But my browser chews up a lot of my memory. Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh no, I'm excited.
Can you create custom domains? Like, can you get people to log in with it or Google account or something like that, or?
Well, if they're already in email, that is, okay.
It would be out.
The answer is me. Yeah, if you're already in Outlook. So I send people, I send my app through links only. You know, so I can put in emails, I put it on SharePoint sites. It's super easy. Deployment. I remember in class, deployment was a nightmare. The deployment button is right there, and I push it and it's published. Yeah, done. 20 seconds. Works every time. Yeah.
What happens if they're using it? Like,
Oh, interesting. No, they don't. They do get a heads up as I deploy it. Soon after that, they get a heads up. There is a new app coming out, a new version. You can't get it yet, and then maybe a minute after that, they say the app's available. This does open up a small loophole for people to exploit glitches that you had introduced, that you had just, if they were already in the app and you close that loophole, they have the old version. So, but it only lasts until they close their browser, and so they have to keep their browser open forever to keep exploiting that app. But that's an interesting problem that I haven't seen ever become a problem. Because my apps are always secure, nothing ever goes wrong. But that's a kind of it doesn't kick them out, and maybe it should. Yeah. Okay, so now we want to be able to add comments to the statement. So I thought. So one thing I didn't do is I didn't make an adjustable height gallery, which would adjust the height of the template to whatever is in the data. So they've changed. Microsoft constantly does. So this is constantly updating. And things that worked yesterday don't work today. And as far as my entering the code, apps that worked yesterday work today will work tomorrow. So that's a nice thing about the versioning updates that you don't have to worry about. Was that? Yeah. I haven't touched it yet, but it seems very exciting. Right now, it seems and designed to help people get off the ground. White space. White page syndrome. I don't have that, so I haven't touched it yet. But you can start describing stuff, and it'll spin it up. Get you started, and then you're going to want to adjust it after that. But yeah, that's where do we see that? Here somewhere. But it is in here somewhere. I'm going to go ahead and save this. It saves every 2 minutes unless you don't save it. So right now, if I shot my computer, I'd lose everything. But now I'm saving. Oh, here's the publish button. Published. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, take my word for it. So it's spinning. So I hit save. It's spinning. Still spinning. But we are going to move on to. Oh, I'm going to add into my. Okay, it's saved. Get into my template here. Going to insert an icon. And I'll just add anything because I don't like search. I don't like doing that. So I'll just do. There it is. I will make this. You know what? I'm not going to do this dynamically. I'm just going to. Instead of nifty coded, I will. Yeah. And this is going to. So this is a really powerful tool right here. Powerful in that it just makes life easy. Sets rec. I'll just go record, comma. So if you recall, the code behind this label was this item.statement. So this item is the object for this row. I'm going to use this icon to set a whole record to this variable. This is a good idea. Yeah, maybe. I'm taking these out. Of course, it was set by the by parent width. So I'm just going to take some of that out, change it all, and the width will make and we'll make the X 600. And they are still dynamically stacked on top of each other based on my code. And again, there's a robust container system in here that will take care of that for you. Statement. So I will move this one down to, I'll move it down to here. Grab this one, statement. In gallery, whatever. We'll do Y, and I'll just make that even with the other, with this label here, such that it looks like this. Enough. Okay, now for these values, we'll just enter in the properties of the object that I recorded from this item. So it'll be instead of this item, it'll be record.statement. And this one will be oh, that's right. That's what it was. Did I do that right? I think I did it right. I'm going to click this button. I was hoping for some wow effect, but too bad. so I can get things, so I can see things. So this will be rec this record at time. So that's this one. I'll go ahead and play this. We'll get rid of those red things later, but and that's this one, right? Super simple. I discovered this on month 3 or 4. It blew my mind. We'll enter in another gallery. You can find oh well. Looking for the adjustable gallery, and make this little dynamic. And we'll do Y. And we'll do height. Won't grab the exact height I need, but we will make it a little dynamic. 400 too small. 7. I get. If I was more careful about this, I could have lined those the bottom of those two up and see what these. The problem with these are. Oh yeah, since I copied it over from the gallery, the on select is set to parent. Yeah, I'll go ahead and grab this over. All right, and of course for the data behind, or yeah, the item, the data, the table behind this, we will make the statements. Nope, comments, comment tables. Okay. Yeah. For the sake of time, I'm just going to grab one, and we'll just grab the comments. I think I've demonstrated that you could, if you wanted to, grab the name and the date. This will be statement, but comments, because that is the value I had in my. What is that? In my table. Rectangle. That's weird. Oh, I forgot to turn off all this nonsense. Okay, erase my thing. Got back. That is row height, and this is not. This is so. This record's dot statement is still the same variable that I used over here. So it's still reporting that. So we're going to make that this item comment. Immediately it's provided, and we'll get the rest of this nonsense. Oh. Update this so that it matches to the correct change to the correct table. Comment of that text. And here is the kind of neat part. You have the, I think I misnamed it. It should be statement tables key. I certainly did. But that will be the statement table key, and that will be Specific what? It doesn't work. It underlines the part that doesn't work. It also has, and this is helpful. I've been in this, for half of its life, and I'm kind of good, but this is really helpful. Always get help for this error. This will tell you this will give you a hint. This will often be very helpful, sometimes not so much. It will say, you have an error in your code, but your code can be this long. Sometimes my on selects are, 150 lines, and there's no lines. So, it'd be nice. There is plans to integrate this with VS Code, and that's going to be a game changer. Yeah, bingo. So we'll get in here and finish this code out. Get some of this out of the way. And this record dot key. All right, so now we can reference the comments by the key. Okay, so we'll go ahead and play. Is this going to work? Let's see if this works. Does this work? And on change, apparently it does. Okay, this is nifty. Let's take it one step further. I can do this 5 minutes. Okay. This, sure. We're gonna nest our galleries. Oops. Was not in the right scope. I'll just get that out of there. I will get into my template. Now I will insert my gallery. I will put that underneath. Where was it? Yeah. Y. Maybe I'll do that. I like X, Y every time. Nope, gallery is underneath that. That's this. And yeah, if this were, I just shortened it up a little bit. Yeah, there we are. Okay, now what am I going to use for this to power this? Because I want to show the comments. This is going to be the comments or the comments on the statement. This nonsense. It's not nonsense. It can be very helpful, especially when you're starting out. I don't mean to be disparaging. We will add. Yeah, so the items on this will be items HI, right? Still, this will be a filter of statement tables where statement tables where lost track of my statement table where not statement table, comments table. Comments table where comment table key equals the key of this row. Yep. So it's not showing anything because there's no labels in there. Fix that. This item dot, we'll slide that up. And this is super tiny for me too. I'm sorry, that's not very helpful. This item, I was kind of hoping for at least a key in there. We'll troubleshoot that. This item dot comment. expand that to item dot comment. And we'll do the width. X will give it an X value and kind of indent a little bit. You know what? I don't think we need, yes, we do. Oh, you know what? Yes. Okay, that's why it didn't work, because it was working. So I made this work for, does this work? So I've selected this one with these characters, with this comment, with this statement. I'll click off. It'll update here. It'll update here. Again, I wish I had the. Apparently, they hid the adjustable height gallery while I had been using my own component. Yeah, so you have a whole components section here. You can just grab components. I use it for components. I use it for samples. Just grab it, copy and paste. So it's not.
Build your own templates, can you use?
Build your own templates to what again?
Your law firm, you got 6 different things. 76 times.
Yeah, well, for that, I would make one app, and then I would have a table that fills in the various things. I'd have a department table that would have the department a title, whatever things that make that app specific for that department, and then I would just run that, and whenever a user accesses it, read who they are, what their department is, and they get to see that. So that's how I might do it. I'm sorry, to answer your question. Yeah, you can just copy and paste and do that, because if they have specific needs. Yeah, and have it show the information dynamically based on who it is, on who logs in. Yeah, but if there's specific needs, like you can make a whole big thing to take care of everybody's needs. Not the best way to work with this. You as a developer need to make things easy, or need to go through extra work to make it easier for this. There's a bunch of denormalization because it doesn't do a whole bunch of lookups strung together. You can do 3 or 4, 3. I've gone as deep as 3 without having too much problems. So making copies for each department is a completely legitimate solution for sure. So now this works. Not the best layout. Does it work? Yes, it does. Wait. Yes, it does. Oh yeah. So you know what? I'm gonna do this really quick, and then we can. I'm gonna give this a little ground so that it will make more sense visually. And this is the kind of stuff that I kind of think is fun. Doing this UI UX. Okay, so yes, so this is a gallery inside the gallery. It scrolls to the bottom, but once I'm in here, I can scroll to the other one. And I promise you, we are the template size. Just make it a little more reasonable. And this is the. Let's say this is the wow moment. Comments table. Nope, not comments table. But I'm just going to copy this. It's the same code as this. Almost. Except instead of this item key, it's record key. Okay. Now I think we have what I intended to do. I won't bother with that spacing, but So now we have our statements table with people making comments. You can record who that is when they do it, and it displays on both. Here's where you enter the both. This is, in case you didn't know, this is what I had tried to describe at the beginning. So I'm going to go with QED, which was to be demonstrated. Ta-da.
Only basically on Carlton, you do something.
You can do a feedback survey. To my knowledge and experience, you would want to use, say, forms, which you can put on a SharePoint site and expose that. I mentioned earlier that there is a external facing portal. I've not leveraged that. I've not been asked to, and I don't really have a lot of time to be playing with things that I'm not paid to. Having said that, every app that I make, there's another aspect of leverage that I can learn and make my next app better. So my next step is truly reusable code. There is a way to use reusable code. You can select a button. I can hide a button. I can select on the screen, and then in an on select or an on change, which is where the scripting part comes in. You can set a value here and then use that new value below it. Does that make sense? But you can use reusable code. Like I'm always going to do the same thing. So you make a button invisible, and you can select that as part of your script. Does that make sense? Okay.
Can you take your code and save it for yourself for later on for maybe offline use? Maybe if you want to, maybe you're developing something right now, then maybe 6 months later you want to incorporate your code that you created and import it back into this, or is it just?
Yeah. If I can download this, in theory, in my situation, that would not be. I want to go legal. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right.
But you can download it and save it on.
It comes out as a straight text file. Like if you're looking for a certain like variable that you lost, you can download the text file, open it as a text file, and do a search, and then try to find out where it is. And so it's pretty much a wall. Yeah. It's structured in its own way, but I don't. You can see it, but it doesn't format. Like it is a wall. Yeah. Yeah.
What's form?
So forms is part of the whole suite. So you probably heard of Power BI. Kind of led it. I think because Power BI was so great, they're like, well, we just use Power. So because that predates all of this by many years. But forms is a way to use dumb forms. You can branch them, but you can't do things like validated drop downs. But that you can put on a SharePoint site and expose that to the world, and that can update your database. So that's not using Power Apps at all. There's Power Pages has come out, and that feels like a SharePoint style of things, but I can't comment on that. I haven't worked with it. It's come out since my education. I'm really into. Oh, there's also Power Automate, which is a true programming language. This is coding with some programming. That's a true programming language. You can have. There's no loops in here. Everything happens at once. So you can have like a for all, which applies that values to a table, but it applies them all individually. You can't increment variables or anything like that. So Power Automate is something you can do. So I use Power Automate to send emails, to automate emails based on a non-human trigger, like time, or an email comes in with a certain subject, something happens. Yeah. You're welcome. I want to thank you all. I want to thank you all so much. Can I take your picture? Yeah. This is my first one. Yeah. But I want you to see it there because it shows that I'm in the front. Yeah. And. Thanks much. Now half you do this and half you do this. I'm kidding. Yeah. But they also like this. They're really fantastic. Yeah.
We only have like around 5 minutes to be here, but for the ones that are doing, we usually go to downtown House of Pizza and we sit in the back and we get with each other for a little bit. So you're welcome to join us. You can leave your car here if you want. We're just gonna walk. It's very close.